Hey folks, this is Christian Ballard here at
Let's go. Get on base.
We've made it to Friday. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, sports journalist here at Ballard Sports Media. Got a couple of people watching already. Hit that thumbs up, helps the channel out. What about today on the show? Halliburton at the buzzer, fighting words from Ryan Williams. Plus, we look at some team previews for 2025. We need to get back to doing that. The season quickly approaching for college football. Also, well, I guess I kind of just mentioned it, but so we'll kind of look at the Pacers win last night in game one over OKC, and then we'll also look at what Diego Pavia had to say after Ryan Williams' comments here on the show. If you're watching on YouTube, just leave us a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. Would really love and appreciate that. Do the same on Facebook. Follow the Christian Ballard Sports Journalist page and leave us a review. Leave us a like on this stream. It means a lot. If you're listening back on Spotify, yes, we're on Spotify, the Christian Ballard Show. I would love and appreciate a review. That would be awesome. So that would help us out a lot. So we got a couple people watching. Love and appreciate that. Let's get it going. The Pacers win game one last night thanks to Tyrese Halliburton. Yes, and they won by 1 point, 111 to 110. I saw the ending. I did not watch the game all the way through because I was at church, but I want to read the article from ESPN and kind of react to it a little bit with you guys. Last second comeback, I kind of knew that part, but Tyrese Halliburton, and this comes from the Associated Press. Tyrese Halliburton and the Never Say Die Indiana Pacers pulled off yet another last second comeback, this time on NBA's biggest stage. Halliburton's 21-foot jumper with 0.3 seconds left. You know how hard it is to hit that? Not necessarily the 21 foot, but to hit a buzzer beater and get it off in time and actually hit it with 0.3 seconds left. Come on, man. It gave Indiana its first and only lead of the game, and the Pacers stunned the Oklahoma City Thunder 111 to 110 on Thursday night in game one of the NBA Finals. After a comeback for the ages, Halliburton had this to say, man, basketball's fun. Winning is fun. Yeah, especially like this. The Pacers turned the ball over 25 times, trailed by 15 points in the fourth quarter, which, by the way, looking at this here, they outscored OKC in the fourth 35 to 25. That's pretty good. Um, so they trailed by 50 points in the fourth quarter against a team with the best home record in the NBA and had no answers for Shea Gillis Alexander, or SGA as some call him, the NBA MVP who led all scorers with 38 points. So you mean to tell me SGA has 38 points, OKC's up big, but the Pacers are going to come back and win this thing by a point? I mean, that's just remarkable when you think about it. I believe that. Um and it's just this is awesome to read. This is awesome to see. This is great for the NBA here. Number one, just that we have this finals matchup. There's no Celtic, there's no Laker. It's the Pacers and the Thunder, man. Title droughts here or there. Like, by the way, I just dropped that StreamYard link. Click that link if you want to let your voice be heard and call into the show. You don't need to be on camera like me, just need audio. But the finals game one, getting back to that. This is the finals you want to see. But also, like, just in terms of who's playing and who's matched up against each other, the Pacers and the Thunder, you couldn't have predicted this in the preseason. You would have said they were gonna be average teams, they might be a wild card, whatever type of spot, whatever they call it in the NBA, they they would have made it in, but this is your championship series here, and the Pacers win game 1 by a point. Back to this article, again, it mentions they turned the ball over 25 times and trailed by 15 points in the 4th against the team with the best home record in the NBA and had no answers for SGA, the MVP, who led all scorers with 38 points. Um, then it kind of goes down the list of what the Pacers have been through. They have trailed a lot in these playoffs. They really have. And it all ends up with 100 plus points. So when you look at this too for the Pacers, um, Tyrese Halliburton and company are scoring over 100, usually 110 points or more. And that's something special, that you could do that. I mean, I went into this series saying that the Thunder had the best offense, but then we kind of see what happened last night in game 1, and you're like, "Now hold on, the Pacers are here too. Let's not forget." So you watch the Pacers, and they got the offense going. They're on a roll. They're ready to go. That's awesome. Um, they were down 15 with 9:42 left. Their rally the biggest in the 4th quarter of the finals since Dallas also came from 15 down to beat Miami on June 2nd, 2011. Going back 14 years, Carlisle coached those Mavericks, and well, here he is again. Pascal Siakam led the Pacers with 19 points. Obi Toppin scored 17. Miles Turner 15. Tyrese Halliburton and Andrew Nembhard each had 14. Jalen Williams had 17, and Lou Dort scored 15 for Oklahoma City, which was 36-1 at home with 15-point leads this season. Game 2 is at Oklahoma City on Sunday night. I don't know how to necessarily preview that other than the Thunder got to bring their A game. The Pacers got to bring their A game. And it could go either way. The Pacers could win it again in game 2. I think the Thunder are going to clap back in game 2, but how crazy would it be? Am I crazy to think that this is how every game's going to go, which you don't typically see? You'll see a blowout or something that's not necessarily down to the wire. Maybe it's not a big blowout. You usually do see that in the postseason in every series, even in the finals. Um, but like, this just seems like the most 50-50 finals I've seen ever. Like, you just don't know because both teams are super talented. Yeah, the Thunder lost last night. Okay, cool. Who cares? It was by 1 point. There was a buzzer beater. They had a chance on defense, and the Pacers just came away with it. Wow. This is incredible. Shout out to the Pacers on game 1. Game 2 coming up Sunday night. Looking forward to it. All right. Also in the news, Alabama Crimson Tide and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Diego Pavia, does that name sound familiar? He claps back at Ryan Williams' comments. They're fighting words from Ryan Williams, aren't they? I would assume so. John Leuzzi from USA Today put this out 2 days ago, after we did our show. But Alabama football wide receiver Ryan Williams appears to have woken up the Bear and Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt football quarterback once again didn't hold back. Um, Let me start that over. Alabama wide receiver Ryan Williams appears to have woken up the Bear Diego Pavia, and the Vanderbilt quarterback once again didn't hold back. On Tuesday night, the Commodores gunslinger went to his Instagram to post a screenshot of Williams' comments regarding this year's Alabama Vanderbilt game on his story, with Gucci Mane's "Made It" outro in the background. Pavia's story also included the 100 and smoke cloud emojis, insinuating that Williams' comments were real smoke. I love articles like this. Pavia's response comes less than 24 hours after a clip surfaced on X, formerly Twitter, from a sit-down interview with Williams did with former NFL coach John Gruden, who now works with Barstool Sports, where he offered up a rather assertive statement on how Alabama was looking at this year's game against Vanderbilt. Williams told Gruden, going into this game, we don't call them revenge games. We're going to kill an ant with a sledgehammer this year. Every game we fell short last year, we definitely got red eyes going into them this year. Pavia led the Commodores to an unthinkable upset last season when Vanderbilt defeated Alabama, which was then the number one ranked team in the AP Top 25 poll at First Bank Stadium. It was the first ever win against the AP top 5 opponent in program history for Vanderbilt, which was previously 0-60 against AP top 5 opponents. It also ended a 23-game skid against Alabama, a losing streak that dated back to the 1984 college football season. In last year's 40-35 win for the Commodores, Pavia finished 16-20 passing for 252 yards and 2 touchdowns. As for Williams, the Crimson Tide's now star sophomore wide receiver had one of his quieter games as he only finished with 3 catches for 82 receiving yards and a touchdown. For him, I'll admit that's pretty low. Let's see. They played a better football game than us that game, Williams told Gruden earlier in a clip on what happened against Vanderbilt. We came out slow and they capitalized. The article ends here. Vanderbilt and Alabama are scheduled to face each other on Saturday, October 4th at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kickoff time remains to be determined for the game. That was a big game last year. Probably the game of the year. Don't forget it was close. Don't forget, Vanderbilt didn't just beat Alabama. That was what was it, 40-35? It was a 5-point game. Alabama could have got a touchdown and won it. They didn't. Credit to Diego Pavia, credit to Clark Lee, credit to Vandy. Everything like that. I'm an Alabama fan. Now, was I upset about Vandy? At the time, yeah, but then I saw they went on to have a really, really good season. They did everything but make the playoffs in the SEC title, right? What'd they end up? 8-4? Something like that. They were a good team. And they'll probably be another good team this year. Most likely. I think Clark Lee's doing great things, and they got this generational type of quarterback with Diego Pavia. But now he's clapping back at Ryan Williams. There's some beef, there's some heat. And I think because not so much that Vandy beat Alabama last year, but because of the offseason. See, that's what stirs up these matchups um, in the regular season. It's not when it's revenge necessarily. Sometimes it can be, depending on how the game went. I remember the kick six for Auburn the following year in Tuscaloosa when Alabama won by 11 points in the highest scoring Iron Bowl in history. That was big not because there was trash talk necessarily, but because Alabama fans had to live with misery of the kick six for a year. This is how it is. I'm trying to think of other games. What are some games outside of Alabama? I mean, there's tons of them, right? Um, I don't know. Ohio State, Penn State, I'm sure have had some games. Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, Michigan went into 2021, finally got their win over Ohio State. They cheated to do it. They get caught, all this and that, at least down the road in 2023. But they finally got Ohio State, right? And then after the fact, there was the year leading up to the next game, and they said, well, this one in Columbus, Ohio State got some guys back. You got CJ Stroud out there, whoever, right? You got all this coming together. And Michigan does it again. They do it again. But there was buildup. That's how I feel is what's going to happen in Tuscaloosa this year with Vandy. I think you're going to have some buildup. Whether College Game Day goes there or not, ACC Nation might end up there because of this. We'll see. Well, I don't know the rest of the SEC schedule for that day. But, like, I'm trying to think, like, there's some beef right now, and that beef's gotta be cooked up a bit, right? Like, this is not the end of the Pavia versus Williams saga. It's just not. Like, there's no way. So, um, I don't know, man. This is heating up quick, and, Pavia and Williams are going head to head on the internet, and this is awesome to see. All right. That being said, if you want to be on the show, click that StreamYard link. Sometimes we get calls, sometimes we don't, but that's okay. I've only been going for like 17 minutes or so right now. That's not good enough for me. I think I want to do a couple team previews. Now, I think I've done some, but forgot to clip them, so I'll redo them. Like I have banners right now for Duke. Um, I I don't know, man. This is fun. It's fun to predict. So we're gonna look at some teams today, and we're gonna start with Duke. Let's start with Duke and what they look like. Let's do three teams: Duke, Iowa, South Carolina. If we can knock those out, we'll get them up to. Thanks for watching this. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe, everything like that here at Ballard Sports Media. Duke is interesting. A good team. Manny Diaz in there. At least last time I checked, he's still the head coach. Um, who was who was that previous coach? He was pretty good, but he had some down years at times, and they couldn't really put up with him too much. But Duke, I'm actually really curious as to who that last coach was. The name slips my mind. Well, Manny Diaz is there now. Duke football last head coach. Well, Mike Elko before he went to A&M. I'm thinking, you know who I'm thinking of was Cutcliffe. That's who I'm thinking of. I wasn't thinking of Elko, but I was thinking about David Cutcliffe previously. I guess technically 2 coaches ago. Elko's there for a year. He goes off to A&M. So we look at the schedule for Duke, and without knowing too much of the roster and everything, you can only guess so much of the schedule. And I know what you're thinking. Well, it's still kind of early. Yeah, but it's fun to predict. So let me do it. You know, um, I think that Duke is going to be in a good position with Manny Diaz. He has that experience at Miami. He can never really win all the big time games. I think he won a couple, and he was able to get close to some upsets, got an upset here or there, but he was still pretty good, but it wasn't working out. So they let him go. They bring in Cristobal. Now he's at Duke. He's got some experience, and I think there's a difference for coaching Miami and coaching Duke. I think with Miami, you're looking to win titles and stuff. With Duke, you're looking to hope to get there. someday, but you're looking to be consistent with making bowl games and winning 8 or 9 games, maybe even 7. You look at their schedule here, we got it up. I do think Duke makes a bowl game, but we got to look at what they have first. Elon, not to be confused with Elon Musk, this is Elon Phoenix. Uh, Illinois, at Tulane, NC State, at Syracuse, at Cal. Back-to-back road games there can be tricky. Off week. Georgia Tech, who I think is consistently a really good team, especially with Brent Key at the helm. Another bye week. I hate when teams get a draw like that. They get one bye week, they play one game at home, and then they get a bye week. That's a really bad look. But it does come at an interesting time. You go to Clemson, at UConn, Virginia, at North Carolina, and Wake Forest. Overall, I think it's a doable schedule. I do. I do like Manny Diaz. I do like him to improve and get better at Duke. But there are some tough challenges when facing this 2025 schedule. Uh, Illinois, probably a better team. It could be that, like, that's your first true test. You're playing a Big Ten team there. Elon, you'll beat. That's a night game. No one's going to want to watch it, but it's at night, it's at home. So you'll probably win that game by like 40 points or so. Probably. Tulane, even though they're a group of 5, that's a team that's been on the radar winning 10, 11 games a year in recent years and have tried to make the playoff and everything. They've been on the outside looking in, of course, but they get going and then they kind of lose it at the end of the season. I look at Duke this year and I look at Tulane and I say Duke's probably a better team, but that could be a challenge there. Overall, this sets up to be pretty nice to make a bowl game. I think there are obvious losses. I don't think North Carolina is one of them. I know what you're thinking about Bill Belichick. He's a GOAT. He's great. He's awesome. Blah, 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 this and that. But then you got the Jordan Hudson stuff. It could be a distraction. I don't know. Clemson, going to be top dog of the ACC. Georgia Tech, probably going to be in that race too. UConn, you could handle, but again, I haven't looked at UConn. I don't know what they have returning. I can't tell you off the top of my head there. Cal, I think, is kind of in the middle of the ACC right now, but they're on the climb up slowly. Syracuse is going to be huge. Syracuse, I'm looking at losses here. I'm gonna give it to Illinois here on the road. Um, I'm gonna say Illinois, not so much an upset. Illinois is going to be a pretty good team, but it's a road win for them. I'm going to say you lose to Illinois. Um, let's say Syracuse, Tech, Clemson, and I'll say you lose to North Carolina because I do. We can make jokes about Bill and his girlfriend and everything, but he is a good head coach. And even if he gets off to a sluggish start, he could figure it out by mid-season and they could get going. And that game's at home for UNC. So I'm looking at 5 losses, maybe 7-5 for Duke. Got to hear from you guys in the comments section on this. I love y'all. And yeah, Duke, man, they could be a good team. I don't think you need to hang your head with 7 wins. I mean, that's not bad for Duke. That's really good. They've had years under 500. They're going places now, I think, but they're still a few years away from it. You know, they got to keep building recruiting and stuff and use the portal, and they'll be good to go. But I'm gonna peg them at 7-5. All right, we got to do more of these. So we got Duke. I could close that one. I'm gonna do Iowa and South Carolina as well, and then we'll clip these 3. Let's go ahead. We'll do Iowa. I know I don't have the Big 12 team picked out. I probably should though, right? I don't know. I don't know. That's where I got to look back and see what Big 12 teams I've done. I know there's a ton I haven't, but I don't want to do anything again. Okay. I want to change the colors here because we're doing Iowa. Okay. So then you look at a team in Iowa, we get done with Duke. Um, you look at Iowa 2025, and I have looked at this schedule because if I'm being honest, I got a bet with Uncle Lou, and I believe it was 7.5 was the win total, and I need them to hit the over. Because I'm pretty high on Iowa. I think they could do it. Lou, not so much. But we scroll up here. Albany, Great Danes, night game at Iowa City at Kinnick. That's a win. Unless something crazy happens, that should be a win. At Iowa State, that could go either way. That's always a defensive game. The Cy-Hawk Trophy battle, great rivalry. I missed my buddy Jeff Webster on here. He was a big Iowa State guy, along with Alabama. He covered Iowa State. He was up at Iowa. Uh, for his sake, I got to go with Iowa State always. Nothing against Iowa here. It could happen. They could win on the road, but Iowa State brings back a lot. They'll probably have one of the better offenses, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on them to win the Big 12, possibly. I'm not saying they will or not. I don't know. But I feel like they're kind of one of those sleeper teams right now. UMass, no problem. Rutgers, probably no problem. Indiana, ooh, could go either way. That's homecoming. They don't have a time set yet. Uh, I know. Okay, so let's say need them to go 8-4 or 9-3 or something. I could see them going 9-3 at most. Penn State's a loss. Oregon's a loss. I don't think USC on the road is a guarantee loss. I'm not buying USC, man. Like they'll make a bowl game, but they're not competing for Big Ten spots or anything. They're not. They're just not. They're not going to the playoffs. They're going to lose some games they probably shouldn't, and Iowa could be one of those. Iowa's going to get Nebraska. They're going to get Michigan State. They're not getting Oregon or Penn State. That's two. They could lose that Wisconsin game. They can also win it too. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments on Iowa. But I would say at most they're about 9-3, maybe 8-4. But I've already got it typed out at 9-3. I'm probably eating those words. 7.5 win total. I made a bet with Lou. I took the over. I at least need them 8-4 just for a bet. Um, I think they could do that. Maybe 9-3 is a bit much, but we'll see. Okay. And we want to look at South Carolina because again, I gotta at least get these on record and clip them. South Carolina's South Carolina's one of those teams that should have made the playoffs last year if 9-3 was acceptable. But let's see what Shane Beamer has to face this year. I know for a fact, obviously Clemson. I think Clemson's at home. Maybe they're on the road. I don't know where they played last year. And then I know they host Alabama. Other than that, haven't really looked far into South Carolina. When I look at Carolina, I see a really good team. I see a Heisman contending quarterback possibly in Lenora Sellers. I do think he's got great NFL potential. He's got that upside. I think the question mark for Carolina is the defense. They don't have the Jadeveon Clowneys of the world to help them do it, but they still got some good guys out there. Uh, let's see what they open with. They got the Aflac kickoff game on Sunday, August 31st. Of course, we have a full weekend of college football then. Yes. And they play Virginia Tech. Could go either way, but I would probably take Carolina right now. We'll come back to what I predict, but Virginia Tech, South Carolina State should be no problem. Vandy, Missouri, Kentucky. Missouri's on the road, by the way. Off week. At LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, at Ole Miss. Bye week again. At Texas A&M, Coastal Carolina, and then Clemson. This is where it gets very interesting. I why do I have a feeling they're just going to do the same thing last year? Only maybe the losses are different. I mean, if I'm giving an at most, this is, it is a tough schedule, but it's doable, right? Is South Carolina better than Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia? That's looking to be a night game at home. That could go either way. I would favor the home team in South Carolina. If I had to set a line, probably 3.5 points. It'd be close. That might be a shootout. Pavia and Sellers. Oh my gosh. How was that game last year? I know they had to have played last year because everyone's got the same opponents, but the stadiums have swapped. So I'll take South Carolina in that game. I'm not very high on Kentucky or Missouri. That's 3 wins. Are you looking at an undefeated South Carolina before the bye week? Now, usually, no. But if they really work at it, Shane Beamer can get these guys going. You could be 5-0 going into the bye week, but then you got to come off the bye week. You got to go to LSU. That's a loss for me. Oklahoma, Alabama. I'm going to take Alabama, but that could be close. That could go either way. I'm careful about it. Ole Miss. And all these losses are going to be like in the SEC probably. I I might change this. At most, I would give them 9-3, but at the same time, 8-4 or 7-5. Like you're between 7-5, 9-3. I think if you go 9-3, it's because you got Texas A&M. But I think you lose to LSU, Alabama, and Clemson, all of which could possibly be title contenders this year. After that, the schedule's wide open. If you play your best, you're winning all these other games. If you're South Carolina. So now they have, to their credit, they have gotten Clemson in recent years, but I think Clemson's on another level this year. I just don't see it for the Palmetto Bowl for South Carolina's favor. But we'll see. Anything's possible. We'll see what the Gamecocks want to do in 2025. So, did Pete not go live this morning? I guess not. He's probably got some stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, um, yeah. Thanks for watching today, guys, and thank you if you listened to it on Spotify for the podcast. Love and appreciate you guys for that. I think that's going to do it for this edition. As long as we don't have any callers for the show, we'll probably give it a couple more minutes. We got a couple people watching, but episode 11 pretty much in the books here. Talked about Diego Pavia, talked South Carolina, talked about Tyrese Halliburton getting it done for the Pacers. It's good. We're off to a good start with those finals. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I love all of you. Jesus loves you too. Keep your head up. God bless. And we'll see you next time here on the Christian Ballard Show. Love y'all.
Hey folks, this is Christian Ballard here at WK Number.